Good afternoon, my friends. DRBMiller here. How's everybody doing? Hope you are healthy, safe and well, staying indoors, at home, doing all those meaningful activities that we all do when we are indeed living through this lockdown. Make sure you're doing everything that is going to be of benefit to you because you have plenty of time on your hands. Maybe do an online course. Maybe read lots of books, watch some of your favorite programs, watch some of the best films, the ones you had on your list and you were not able to catch a little while back. Talk to other people, use Skype and WhatsApp to connect with everyone, and join us here in our online video gaming community. What better way to connect with others but by watching Twitch or Mixer or YouTube gaming, and then indeed enjoying some of those conversations. My channel's been at times extremely busy, but in recent weeks we've seen a decrease on activity. I'm not exactly sure what's causing it. I think perhaps the change of direction, where I'm providing a greater variety of games offered on very frequent everyday basis. Maybe it is also to do with the fact that lots of our Destiny veterans are doing lengthy grinds in Destiny 2. Destiny 1's not really that much played anymore, I have to say, and there are fewer people popping in and watching, and we've had very many coming in and having a look and joining our community during the year 1 of Destiny 2. But as we had seasons introduced during the year, during the second year, and lots of activities that some of the guys from Destiny 1 also find very enjoyable, everyone kind of migrated. And I did have, towards the end of last year, a number of Destiny 1 streams, quite lengthy ones really, where hardly anybody would come in and have a look. So the idea is to provide an interesting content here on the channel, which is kind of socially interactive, providing a lot of information on various video games. Indeed, we want to provide a variety so that people are introduced to lots of games. We always will have the favorites, the backbone, as I call it, to this channel. In this instance, we have Destiny, we also have Halo, we also have Mass Effect. These are the big games that we will always have here. I did stream Halo the Master Chief Collection and Mass Effect quite extensively, both on Mixer and Twitch early in the month, and it's been tremendous. I mean, it's been wonderfully rewarding. I absolutely love these games, and I completed Halo Combat Evolved and got lots of achievements, and then I didn't really carry on with the Halo 2 because I wanted to really bring back Destiny and focus on Mass Effect. So, you know, really we have several games there that will be always very much close to our heart and frequently featuring here on our broadcast. And then there will be a variety, the games we introduce, some we play in depth, others we play just for a bit. Evidently I'll play the games, maybe outside of my broadcasting hour, quite a bit, but you know, we can't really have that degree of continuity on hundreds of games. It's simply logistically not possible. But certainly for the big ones, and also for the games like Bless Unleashed, Elder Scrolls, Neverwinter, or you know, any of those massive big open world RPGs, they don't really have linear storytelling, and therefore you can do them in sections. Anytime you can revisit, you will remember what the activity was. And what's important in those RPGs is not to be overloaded with too many quests at the same time, and that can happen if you have an exploratory mind. You go to different areas and look for various other things that are available. So very important to keep this in mind, because you have like one major task and maybe some side quests, but always make sure you polish them off and you carry on, because then you will have a clear sense of direction. Otherwise you could sort of run amok a bit. I had actually played and not streamed another RPG that I really like. It's called Two Towers 2, and this is a bit like an adult version of Elder Scrolls. The characters look a bit you know, they're slightly eroticized, and the exchanges in there are bordering on some sort of adult communication. But the story is very good and plenty of activities. The only trouble is I can't download it to my hard drive because PS Now services are giving it just on streams, and the stream is actually quite poor. The game is the older PS3 game that's not been properly remastered, so that it caused me quite a few difficulties. Also, the map didn't seem to work too properly, with various things coming up and disappearing, and so it was a bit difficult to have that degree of continuity. But I really absolutely loved the game. And if you are a subscriber to PS Now and Xbox Game Pass, you will always have about 1,000 games on your fingertips, and you can always find something for your taste, regardless of where you are and what you feel like. Some days you might play deadly battle royale combat, on others you play puzzles or adventure games or sci-fi, space opera, survival games, strategy, you name it. Sometimes you'll pop in, play Overcooked, enjoy some of the family elements of Sea of Thieves. There's something for everyone, and that's the idea. I think really what is enjoyable about the gaming world of today is its kind of equivalent in the 1930s Hollywood, where the studios became massive and they were producing up to 600-700 films a year and offering lots of different types of varieties, from genre to different actors to different niches. And one studio doing gangster films, like for instance Warner Brothers. You had other MGM doing musicals, and they were all kind of fiercely competitive but fully compatible. And then they discovered it wasn't a good idea for all the studios to be also the owners of exhibition houses, picture houses. So they had a law that prevented them from having that degree of unity, or I should say that degree of how to put it, overall control of cinemas. And then you had another entity growing, but the equivalent is primarily in terms of the titles and the sheer number and the volume of all that is being produced and that is being kind of delivered our way. And I remember in the 90s when the PC games started, there were very few games made, and you'd be like waiting for a game to come out for a long while. Then once we had PS, PlayStation, the original, introduced the PlayStation 1, suddenly there was an influx of many more games on the console. They were made quicker, and the graphics and everything else seemed a bit more advanced, and it was very easy to use compared to many problems. The generation of today may not remember that these games you bought, like a brand new game, your PC game for £50, and you go back to your computer and then suddenly the game wouldn't work. And the reason for that was, it wasn't compatible with your machine. How are you to know that if you purchased a game? And in those days, this was prior to the internet era. There were no patches, there was no updates, there was nothing. And there were lots of issues of frustration. I'm certainly one of those who experienced quite a few, and had lots of difficulties, and was very angry. I'd go to Computer Exchange in Notting Hill, which was the first computer second-hand store, second-hand game store in the United Kingdom. This was like in the early 90s, and you really kind of ask one of the guys to kind of keep that game for you, and they'll make sure that you get it. You pay all the money. A lot of the games there were offered on handsome discount. To be able to get them for £10 or so, which in those days was also quite a lot of money. And otherwise 25 was the standard price, and 30-50 was the the price of the brand new games. And then I remember going back home, trying the game, and the game wouldn't work. But then once the PlayStation console came out, there was no trouble with updates or patches or problems with hardware, software, you name it. It was just straightforward. You bought that game, or indeed you borrowed it. You were able to borrow them from various video stores in those days, and then you'd have it for a period of time, and there were no issues. You just stick the disc in, play the game, and I connected my PlayStation 1 to home cinema setup with a projector and a large screen, and this was a terrific experience. So I used to invite people home to have a look, and one of the eeriest, well, there were two eerie games. In fact, everyone liked playing survival stroke horror, so Resident Evil 1 was one that people were quite scared of. But I guess the one that was truly terrifying when you watch on the big screen with 12 speakers was Silent Hill, and that's Silent Hill 1 on PlayStation 1. And really, I remember one of my friends literally running away from the room, so literally departing and need to go to the toilet and nearly throwing up because she was so scared of the noise coming from behind. Those kind of flying creatures, Avatar, Jurassic Park style, that are chasing you. And what was frightening, I guess, for many people, I mean, it's a simple game and the graphics are not particularly advanced, but It's the atmosphere. And once you've put it through at that time Pro Logic, you would have this fantastic atmosphere of that desolate, ghost town in the middle of nowhere. And once the fog would have come down, you couldn't see a thing. So your character had to be looking for a particular destination, and he would have to be walking through the streets of this town going to the fog. And the only thing you can hear was like eerie noises, and then the noise of this creature. This is like a bird, but it's a massive big tyrannosaurus or whatever they're called, attacking you from the fog, and you couldn't easily see the creature, so you had to be really on your toes, and then you could hear the creature coming from behind, although, as if I'm not mistaken, the sun was not fully surround, but it worked well on my system because I usually would leave a kind of a delay effect on my Pro Logic, so you would have a bit of echo, so it's bouncing off the walls, so to speak, and you can hear. Well, it was very scary. You can hear that this bird, this creature, was nosediving or coming from behind, and the noise would get louder, and then you had to look left to right to know where the creature was. So these were some really good times, really good experiences, and I've not done it now for a little while. I'm actually not using my home cinema presently, but I'd be quite curious to see whether the same effect would be acquired even today on, obviously, the games that are a lot more advanced. The trouble is that sometimes honestly, I'm not even connected my Xbox One to the projector to see what the impression and the experience would be, but I'll do that in due course. So obviously there'll be time for everything at some point, but I remember those days fondly. Where was I? I was telling you about these old games, and yeah, the thread of my thought was about the abundance of titles available. So if you are a member of Xbox Game Pass or PS Now, then you know it's only taking a click for you to download. In fact, on Xbox it's so beautiful. On you have the Xbox app and also Xbox Game On. You are then able to download games remotely, and you will be familiar with the fact that unlike PlayStation, Xbox One is downloading the games even if the console is switched off. It will need to be plugged into your power mains, but actually it doesn't have to be running, and that's fantastic because you are preserving your machine, because obviously it's not running at full speed and overheating and doing all sorts, and you can do this remotely. So if you have plenty of space on your hard drive, or indeed if you have the external hard drive, a few terabytes attached to it, you're up and about, you're traveling, you're somewhere in the woods, you're having a picnic, and you discover there's a notification telling you like Yakuza, introduced the other day to Xbox Game Pass. You really fancy the game, go to the app, click install now, and the installation starts immediately. So that's awesome, and all of that will be even greatly enhanced with Project X Cloud once launched next year. So really, there's something for everyone. But what we have today is Bleeding Edge. We've had already a shorter broadcast earlier in the afternoon, and we were joined by quite a number of people. I was very excited to see the people popping in and having a look, and then I realized the reason was simple. Hardly anybody is watching Bleeding Edge on Twitch. Presently there's about 20 people watching. That's a really very, very poor number, or very low number I should say, considering how busy Twitch channels are. But at the moment Warzone is played by 50,000. I mean, it has like 50,000 viewers, and that tells you that there are many people out there playing the game, engaging with the activity, socially interacting. And I don't know, it's really weird because I like talking about any kind of game, but it seems to me that presently the trend is all about elimination and highly competitive type of gaming. So PUBG, Apex, Warzone, and anything which is kind of shoot them up and play against other people. PvP is very, very popular. This game is also a combination of battle royale with fighting and kind of special abilities. and it's an interesting combination. I quite enjoyed the beta when we played it, and earlier today we were doing its tutorial that couldn't be completed because there is a glitch on the first lesson where everything freezes and you have to go back to the beginning. But the rest of the lessons functioned quite well, so I did complete the rest. I wanted to get an achievement, and I couldn't because of that section that froze, so we'll have to do it maybe on another day. And then the other big problem, technically, and I have to say that this game was plagued in the beta quite sizably, there were lots of technical problems. The other problem I had was any time I joined the game, I got a message saying that there's like something missing and the game was crashing. So we couldn't play even just one match. Anyway, I'm a great fan of Battle Royale and I want to support Ninja Theory, and we'll try again. If these problems are to be persisting, we'll migrate to XCOM 2, another game that's available free of charge through Xbox Live Gold or Ultimate. This game, Bleeding Edge, you would have played already since Thursday if you were obviously taking advantage of that freebie. But indeed, if you're a subscriber to those two, Game Pass or Ultimate, you are getting free access in any case. So, without further ado, we are going to crack on with the match. I gotta say I was really quite displeased with all the problems that we faced earlier, because it sort of ruined that continuity. And if you're doing tutorials and you're kind of bringing in people to have a look, you really, you feel for the viewers and you feel for yourself because it's frustrating. And well, let's see whether it will work in this instance. Let's see, it didn't work before, and I've chosen different characters to make sure that might have been a glitch attached to one character, but it wasn't me. Let's see, can I pick up him? He was taken.
Better shred than dead.
Your team has no support fighter. So what is that supposed to mean? And then probably we are just booted. So that must be, you see, that's been happening all along. Ridiculous.
Let's tear it up.
Hassan Ben Sogu for my dude.
Power collection starting soon.
I got a message saying your team has no support fighter, but I've chosen one of these support fighters, so I'll do this again. And if this glitch is persisting, then obviously we'll just migrate to the other game, which is offered free of charge this weekend through Xbox Live Gold. That is XCOM 2. I really look forward to it. I really want to play it for quite some time, and this is becoming a drag, unfortunately. And I'll write to Ninja Theory to express my concerns, because as a broadcaster, the last thing I want is to be boring my viewers, and in addition to that, presenting them with a game that doesn't work. That does actually a disservice to the developer, and we really do not want to have that ever. If the game is so faulty, it needs to be taken off the server for maintenance, and therefore shouldn't have access. People shouldn't have access to it. So we'll choose a support fighter now, immediately, and I did receive a message earlier saying that there were some patches introduced, not today, but like 17 days ago, but this problem might be brand new, and they've not reported it either on Twitter or on Ninja Theory or anywhere else. Anything related to the game doesn't have any indication that this problem is persisting.
Hassan Ben Sogu for my dude. Blades are formidable. How shall you?
With my hand. How could you not know that?
If it brings me back to the top of, yeah, I'm afraid we can't carry on. I'll do it just once more, but I did select the character that was to be used as a support player there in the team, and it's just blocking it for some reason. So it must be a fault on the server, which means nobody can do anything. Well, when games have these kinds of problems, it is a serious issue, and it does affect the community badly if indeed it is to be persisting. Yeah, because 17 days ago a patch, but well, because this is obviously an online multiplayer, you've got to be able to have fast access to the server, and what else are you to do if you're being constantly booted out?
Asambe nsokufa madoda.
They build them big where you're from, huh? Why is it
No. It's constantly crashing. Let me just see. I want to see whether there are any other messages indicating. Let me see. Because there's nothing on the official websites or Twitter indicating that there is a problem, and that is certainly absolutely infuriating. So let me just go to Twitter. Okay, thank you to Protoman, Social Links, and all the other guys who were liking and forwarding my tweet indicating that we are proceeding with our activities. So that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Retweeting and gathering some new community members and viewers to the channel. Right, so let me see. I need to go to Twitter, I need to go to search, and then we'll put Bleeding Edge. Well, there isn't anything, so I think what we'll do is we'll just go back to training and we'll try that first thing. I'm just wondering whether it could be connected to that, because my tutorial wasn't fully completed, but it shouldn't really be. And if it freezes, we are going to be bailing immediately. We'll go to XCOM 2 and we'll try that game, which is the second game offered free of charge through Xbox Live Gold. So if you're enjoying the benefits as a subscriber, then obviously you are going to be trying some of these games. We did this before, and then on one of the characters everything froze.
Every fighter has a basic.
So that's all done and dusted. This is where it freezes so much. And maybe there's something faulty with the installation, but it shouldn't be the case, really.
Try evading Gizmo's vortex.
Yeah. So once you get here, it's all dead. Okay, we'll do it again. One last time. If it doesn't work, we are going to go back. I've seen there was one message saying that there are technical problems, but it seemed like other people were able to play, but didn't say what platform they were using, because it may be, you know, Xbox related, and other guys might be doing it elsewhere. So I don't really know. Hard to tell. But I completed, well, I've done most of that tutorial. We've done Dojo, we tried all characters, introduced you to all of them. You can try the game on another day, but definitely not today. We'll see just at Watch Zone as well. Social is quite good because it gives you a good opportunity to connect with other people, and then I think Watch Zone is when you're watching other people's games. So we'll have a look at that very, very shortly. The glitch is there to do with what team you selected, but then once you're waiting for the match, you're being booted. So you're crashing, and I have no idea why. Well, all these companies are working, you know, under duress due to the lockdown, so they don't have many technicians and people watching and monitoring all the activities, and that's probably one of the reasons as to why it's happening today on the weekend. And there was a tweet in there indicating why is that so very few people are watching the game. Well, because it's marred by technical problems. You know, who wants to be watching this sort of thing now that I'm doing on my channel? Get in and reloading and attempting and this and the other, freezing. People don't want to spend their time, you know, on that sort of activity. It's a waste of time. And I write to them, I'll say, well, I was not able to introduce it to my community because the game didn't work, and what people could see was that the game was faulty. Who is going to buy it if they see that this is happening? Nobody. Actually, the game is very enjoyable once it cracks on. It was exactly the same problem during the beta test.
Hell yeah.
One day.
Well, my friends, we've come to the end of our Bleeding Edge presentation. We are not able to get into the matches for the reasons unknown to me. There is some sort of glitch there. So, if you're watching, stay here with us on the channel. I will discontinue with Bleeding Edge, and we'll start with XCOM 2, another game available through Xbox Live Gold this weekend for free, and we are going to be enjoying that game. So on that note, I will close this presentation. Sadly, I was only able to present you with glitches and, you know, some ideas on what this game is likely to be when working properly, but we know in the present day and age we do not want to be playing games that are so faulty on every level. Maybe that there's a problem with Xbox service, or something to do with the fact we're accessing it through Xbox network. I don't really know. It's surprising considering that the game is on Game Pass. It's a standard Xbox proprietary game which will require regular Microsoft maintenance from their end, and it simply isn't working. So I'm very sorry about that. Hopefully you enjoyed what you've seen through Dojo and tutorials. Hopefully that will make you try the game on another day. But now we are migrating to XCOM 2. So see you all very, very shortly.